Hello and welcome to another episode of today's GK. Let's begin with the practice question of the last segment. With reference to the currency swap facility, consider the following statements. It is an agreement to exchange currencies with predetermined terms. The swap operations can carry exchange rate or other market risks. As we have to select the correct statement, only the first is correct. A is the correct answer. Time break. The word swap means exchange. A currency swap between the two countries is an agreement or contract to exchange currencies with predetermined terms and conditions. These swap operations carry no exchange rate or other market risks as transaction terms are set in advance. Central banks and governments engage in currency swaps with foreign counterparts to meet short-term foreign exchange liquidity requirements. Moving on. Consider the following statements regarding International Energy Agency. It was established in the wake of the oil crises of 1973-1974. India Energy Outlook Report is published by IEA. A candidate country to the IEA must be a member of the country of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. As we have to select the correct statement or statements, all are correct. D is the correct answer. The IEA is discussing further release of oil from the emergency reserves of its member countries. This is being done as severe supply concerns loom amidst the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the eventual sanctions on Russia. IEA is an autonomous intergovernmental organization which was established in 1974. It is headquartered in Paris, France. It mainly focuses on its energy policies, which include economic development, energy security, also environmental protection. These policies are also known as the 3 E's of IEA. It was established in the wake of the oil crisis of 1973-74 in order to help the members to respond to major disruptions in oil supply. Major reports published by it are World Energy Outlook Report, World Energy Investment Report, World Energy Statistics, World Energy Balances, Energy Technology Perspective, India Energy Outlook Report, and it is made up of 30 members, the IEA. A candidate country to the IEA must be a member country of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Consider the following statements. Oman shares its land borders, with UAE, Yemen and Saudi Arabia only. Nasim al-Bahar is the army exercise between India and Oman. As we have to select the correct statement, only the first is correct. A is the correct answer. India and Oman will work together in certain areas under a program of cooperation in the fields of science and technology that was signed between them. India and Oman are linked by geography, history, and culture, and also enjoy warm and cordial relations which are attributed to historical maritime trade linkages. The 3 countries with which Oman has a border, that is the land border, are United Arab Emirates, Yemen and Saudi Arabia. India and Oman conduct regular bilateral exercise between all 3 services. For Army, we have Al-Najah. For Air Force, we have Eastern Bridge. And for Navy, we have Nasim al-Bahar. Moving on. Which of the following committees are related to reforms in the criminal justice system of India? Millets Committee, Kothari Committee, Madhav Menon Committee. Now here we have to see the first and the third are going to be the correct ones. C is the correct answer. The government has initiated the process of amendment to laws such as the IPC, the Code of Criminal Procedure and the Indian Evidence Act. The amendments are aimed at making comprehensive changes in criminal laws. Criminal justice system refers to the agencies of the government charged with enforcing laws, adjudicating crime and correcting criminal conduct. The Indian criminal justice system faces challenges for delays and ineffectiveness in ensuring justice to the victim. The Millets Committee of 2000 recommended reforms in the criminal justice system of India. The Menon Committee on Criminal Justice Reform submitted its report in 2007. The 4-member panel was set up to draft a national policy paper on the criminal justice system. Consider the following statements regarding Assam Rifles. Assam Rifles is a central paramilitary force under the Central Armed Police Forces. The administrative control of the Assam Rifles is with the Ministry of Defence. We have to select the not correct statement. The second statement is not correct. B is the correct answer. Recently, the Union Minister of State for Home Affairs addressed the 187th Raising Day celebrations of the Assam Rifles in Shillong as chief guest. Assam Rifles is a central paramilitary force under the CAPF. Remember that. It came into being in 1835 as a militia called the 𝐃𝐫𝐢𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢 to primarily protect British tea estates and their settlements against tribal raids. It significantly contributed to the opening of Assam region to administration and commerce, and over the time, it came to be known as the right arm of the civil and left arm of the military. The administrative control of the Assam Rifles is with the Ministry of Home Affairs. Consider the following statements regarding judicial appointments. For the appointment of the Supreme Court judges, the Collegium directly sends recommendations to the Prime Minister. The President of India appoints the Chief Justice of India and other SC judges. Now here we have to select the correct statement. Only the second is correct. B is the correct answer. Easing the tussle with the judiciary over appointments, the centre recently cleared 9 names, and it includes 2 from Jammu and Kashmir, which were earlier reiterated by the Supreme Court Collegium. Collegium system is the system of appointment and transfer of judges that has evolved through judgments of the Supreme Court. The President of India appoints the CGI and other Supreme Court judges. And as far as the CGI is concerned, the outgoing CGI recommends his successor. Collegium sends the recommendation to the Law Minister, who forwards it to the Prime Minister to advise to the President. And let's move on to the next question. Consider the following statements. While exports have grown sharply, India's merchandise imports have grown even faster. Exports of petroleum products have decreased. Here we have to select the correct statement. Only the first is correct. A is the correct answer. The Prime Minister said that India had achieved the target of $400 billion in export in fiscal year 2022. The achievement of $400 billion in merchandise exports represents a growth of over 21% in exports compared to the previous record high of $330 billion achieved in fiscal year 2019. While exports have grown sharply, India's merchandise imports have grown even faster, reaching $550 billion in the first 11 months of the fiscal. Areas that have been key drivers of India's exports growth include engineering goods, electronic goods, and gems and jewelry. Export of petroleum products have grown by 147.6%, driven by a steady increase in crude oil prices. Consider the following statements with respect to the GSAT-7 series satellite. These are developed by the ISRO to meet the communication needs of the Defence Service. The GSAT-7 satellite was launched in 2013. Now we have to select the correct statement. Both are correct. C is the correct answer. The Defence Acquisition Council cleared the acceptance of necessity for procurement of a GSAT-7B satellite. These are advanced satellites developed by ISRO to meet the communication needs of the Defence Services. The GSAT-7 satellite was launched in August 2013 from an Ariane 5 ECA rocket from Kourou in French Guiana. It is a 2,650 kg satellite which has a footprint of nearly 2,000 nautical miles in the Indian Ocean region. It is mainly used by the Indian Navy for its communication needs. The GSAT-7 provides a gamut of services for military communication needs, including low-bit voice rate to high-bit rate data facilities, including multi-band communications as well. It is named Rukmani, and the satellite was injected in the geosynchronous transfer orbit. Consider the following statements with respect to the FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. It was enacted during the emergency in 1976. Once granted, FCRA registration is valid for 10 years. We have to select the correct statement. Only the first is correct. A is the correct answer. The Ministry of Home Affairs has further extended the validity of the FCRA registrations of NGOs whose renewal application is pending with the government till June 30th. The FCRA was enacted during emergency in 1976 in an atmosphere of apprehension that foreign powers were interfering in India's internal affairs by pumping in funds through independent organization, and it requires every person or NGO wishing to receive foreign donation to be registered under the Act, to open a bank account for the receipt of foreign funds in the State Bank of India of Delhi, to utilize those funds only for the purpose for which they have been received and as stipulated in the Act. Once granted, the registration is valid for 5 years. NGOs are expected to apply for renewal within 6 months of the date of expiry of registration. Moving on, consider the following countries: Austria, Slovenia, Germany, Lithuania. Now we have to select the countries which do not have a border with Czech Republic. Slovenia and Lithuania do not have a border with Czech Republic, so the correct answer is 2 and 4. That is option D. The Czech Republic's parliament has approved a plan to deploy up to 650 Czech service members to Slovakia as part of a multinational NATO force. The Czech Republic, historically known as the Bohemia, is a landlocked country in Central Europe, having borders with Austria, Germany, Poland, and Slovakia. Moving on, consider the following statements with respect to CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation. It derives powers to investigate from the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act of 1946. CBI director has been provided security of 2-year tenure in CBI by the CVC Act of 2003. We have to select the not correct statement. Both are actually correct. D is the correct answer here. The Calcutta High Court has ordered a CBI probe into the Birbhum violence case. CBI is the premier investigation agency coming under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions. CBI derives its powers to investigate from the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act of 1946. The Section 2 of the Act vests DSP with jurisdiction to investigate offences in Union territories only. However, the jurisdiction can be extended by the central government to other areas, including railway areas and states, under Section 5, Clause 1 of the Act, provided the state government accords consent under Section 6 of the Act. The director of the CBI has been provided security of tenure of 2 years in CBI by the CVC Act of 2003. Let's look at the practice question. Consider the following statements. Millets are not water or input-intensive crops. These are gluten-free and low glycemic index food. We have to select the correct statement. That's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.